Hello, everyone. My name is Addie, and I'm an adult service specialist at the Natrona County Public Library. And today we will be learning how to use digital tools to our advantage to help make our job search a little easier. Looking for a new job is a huge task. You'll be spending a lot of your time at your future workplace, and ideally, we want to make sure that whatever job we get will be the right fit for us. Looking for jobs online has opened up a whole new world of opportunities, but sometimes it can still be overwhelming navigating all the different types of listings, online applications, and job boards. So today we'll be focusing on how we can use fewer but reliable resources to help ease some of that clutter. So today we'll be exploring a lot of the ways that services like Google can be really useful in everyday issues like job searching. Like I mentioned, Google is reinventing itself as being more than just a search engine. Google has great resources users can benefit from in many ways. We will introduce you to some of the ways that you can use Google to your advantage in your job search, as well as other great resources available for Wyoming job seekers. So in order to use Google as a resource, all you're going to need is a Google account, and that is a Gmail account. And that'll be what you're going to use so we can access a whole bunch of different things in Google and save our job search. And I will go over that as I go on with the presentation. So one of the ways that Google has specifically made it a lot easier for job searchers is by creating a widget that will appear in any job-related search. This widget is customized to the location of your IP address, but it can be used to search for any jobs anywhere in the world. By simply typing jobs in Casper, Wyoming in the Google search, the widget will appear at the top of the search page with job postings in the area. And so it doesn't have to just be jobs in Casper, Wyoming. You can search jobs in New York City, wherever you like, and I'm going to show you right now what it looks like. So I just did a quick Google search right over here, jobs in Casper, Wyoming. And again, you don't have to type in that phrase specifically. You can just do jobs near me, jobs in Wyoming, again, wherever you'd like. And then what's going to happen is that the Google search is going to automatically bring up this little widget right over here, where it's going to show you the jobs in the area that you did the search in. I did Casper, so this is why it's going to do near Casper, Wyoming. And then underneath that widget, you're going to see just a regular Google search, but we want to focus on this widget here. And if we click right over here, right at the bottom of the widget, 100 plus more jobs, it'll take us to a completely different screen where all we're going to do is just complete job searching. So right over here is a little ribbon that has a whole bunch of different categories that lets you filter and adjust your search. So it's just not jobs in Casper, Wyoming. You can do categories by different job fields. You can do title, which what level you want, new to you, location. You can also do work from home. They have areas that are near you, all that good stuff. So you can filter this search specifically to your wants and needs. And right over here, like I mentioned, as long as you're signed into Google, and also if you use Google Chrome, every time and any time that you are signed in and you do a search like this, Google will keep track of your search history. And what it does is it makes it all saved here. So let's say that this is a job that interested you, but you didn't want to apply right away. And if you just select this little ribbon near the job posting and hit save, it's going to bring it up right over here. And then let's say 2 days from now, you do it again, jobs in Casper, Wyoming, you look at new job listings. But when you go back to the save tab, this is where that job that you viewed from 2 days ago will be at. Another great thing about being logged in is that you can set up an alert. And then this will be a link to your Google account, whatever Google account you use to do this search. And then when you go over here to this alerts tab, let's see if we can turn it back on. Okay, so yes, we turned on that alert now. You select got it. So now we can go over here to this alerts tab and we can customize how often we want to be alerted regarding new job postings. You can do instantly. So every time that Google picks up a new job posting in your area, they're automatically going to send you an email address to this, whatever email address you signed in or whatever Google account you signed into. You can also do daily, weekly, however you like it. So that way you can be kept up to date with whatever new jobs are posted in your area. So I'm going to get rid of this alert here so I don't get bombarded with emails, and I'm going to go ahead and do yes. And then there again, that's our saved bar. And now we're going to go back to the jobs and kind of get a better look at how this works. So again, let's see here. I'm not going to want to travel very far, so I'm going to do 5 miles. And then we're going to edit to date posted. I'm going to do the past 3 days, so I only see the most recent job postings. And then that's how this area right here, your search is going to be filtered and changed. And if you can always customize this to whatever you'd like. So the way that this works, if you click on each of the job postings, this little ribbon here is going to come up and it's going to tell you where you can apply to, as well as a brief summary of what the job is. And also underneath it, it's going to show you some links. It will take you to the company website. It will prompt you to do a Google search on the company and even more jobs at the specific company that you look at. So one of the things that it does do is that, again, it tells you where you can apply for the jobs. And this little ribbon here is going to show you where all these jobs, all these job boards that you can apply to this job for. So a lot of the times they will direct you to different job boards. And again, we're trying to avoid that. But if you look at the ribbon, and a lot of the job postings do have it, look for apply on Snag-a-Job, because what Snag-a-Job does, it does take you to the Snag-a-Job website, but Snag-a-Job almost always, when you hit apply now, directs you directly to the website of the company that is posting this job. And then that allows you to apply to that company directly. We're going to give it a second here, and it's hopefully, there we go. Well, this time it took us to monster.com, and it does tell you how you can apply there. But a lot of the time, Snag-a-Job does do a really good job about linking you straight to that company's website. Let's see here. Let's try. Let's look for one that has Snag-a-Job. Let's see. Maybe let's click my filter here. All right. Look, this right here, the postal window clerk that we saved. If I hit apply on Snag-a-Job, and then we do apply now. And a lot of times why we want to do this is because when we are linked to different job boards, a lot of the times they do require us to sign up. And if you want to avoid that, and again, this is a really great way to look at the job postings in your area really quickly and without having to go on a job board. And so again, when you click on Snag-a-Job and you go to apply now, this is the actual company's website, and this is how we can directly apply to that place without having to create an extra account to a job board. So always keep in mind that some of the times it will link you directly to the company website, so you don't even have to look for Snag-a-Job. But if it doesn't, keep an eye out for apply to Snag-a-Job. And let's say that it doesn't even have apply to Snag-a-Job, but that is a job that you're really looking forward to. Another thing you can do is you can just save that job, and it doesn't have a link to Snag-a-Job. That's okay. We have it saved here. And in the future, what we can do is we can look up the job title and the company, and we can do another search, and hopefully that links us directly to that company website. And a really good way to do that is to maybe keep like a table or something where we can organize or keep track of the jobs that interest us. And a little later, I will show you a great example of a table that we can use to do all that great stuff. So that is one way that you can look for a lot of jobs and a lot of different jobs in the area through Google. We're going to go back to our presentation here. So another really great place to look for jobs without having to go to job boards or look at a whole bunch of search results on Google or wherever you do searches from is the WyomingAtWork.com. It's a website by the Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. So not only is it specific to Wyoming, this website serves as a singular portal for your job seeking needs. You can look for jobs and create a resume by simply creating an account with the Wyoming at Work website. So I'm going to click on it now, and we're going to take a look at that website. So what we're going to focus on, so Wyoming at Work has a whole bunch of great links for a whole bunch of different people. But so if you're a veteran, you can look at the special things for veterans. It links you directly to the Department of Workforce Services. But we're going to focus on job seekers, since this is what where we're going to find that portal where we can do job searches, and we can also create a resume. And again, so this portal right here. Again, if right now I'm not signed in, but this would all be a link to whatever job searches you do through Wyoming Networks. It also has, again, new listings here, a whole bunch of training, education services, places so you can get resources, assessments to job skills, work interests. It's a really great place that kind of can get you started on the right track to finding your right job. And it's all you have to do is register. It takes about 13 minutes or so because they make you go through a questionnaire. And you can also do it as an individual, as an employer, as a provider, however you would like. But if you're an individual, it's just a really simple account. And I actually have one, so I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So we can see what that job search looks like. So now that I'm on my dashboard, this is where I can find anything that's related to me. They will let me know related posts. And here has some jobs that they've recommended I think that I might be interested in. But what we're going to focus in on is our job search, which is right over here. And so again, this is all specific to Wyoming workers and Wyoming specifically. And what you do, you can do a quick search, advanced, or a little bit more specific, but we're just going to do a quick search because this is really well and it works really well. So I'm going to do city, and I'm going to go ahead and type in Casper. And you can even go even further by filtering like keywords if you want to be like a writer, construction worker, whatever skills you have, you can do it that way. And there's a whole bunch of different filters that you can select from. But I'm just going to go by my area, which is Casper. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to finally just do search. All right. So here's a whole bunch of new jobs that appear in the area, and they do have it by the date listed, a date that it was listed. It does tell you the location. And if you fill out that questionnaire when you register, they do ask you for your job skills and a whole bunch of different certificates or past experiences that you have, and it will match it to you to see if it's a good fit for you or not. But that's really nice to have. If the salary is available, it will show you that salary. It also will tell you the source where it was posted from. And they have a whole bunch of different codes, but to know what code stands for what, right here, this little click for the information icon, it'll tell you what each code stands for. You can just go through it, but right now I'm going to scroll to that source that tells us a little bit of how they list them. So this is how they list the source of who posted this online. It can tell you if it's corporate, it was a corporate that did it. Education was an institution. A government job will have this. So they have a whole bunch of little abbreviations for different jobs. Okay. So this is, again, a really great place. It works as a singular portal to have all your job work and experiences. And it also has a really great tool that lets you create a resume, but we will go over that a little bit later on in the presentation. So one of the ways that we're going to keep track of our job search, because you want to stay organized, is going to be Google Drive. So Google gives all its users their own Google Drive. It is a cloud-based storage service, and it provides you with 15 gigabytes of space to create and store various files remotely. Any document that you create straight from their file processing programs does not count towards your storage space. So you can add a whole bunch of different documents, like resumes that you have saved other places, or any important information that you have to your drive, and I will show you how we do that in a bit. And one of the great things about this is that you will be able to access your files from any device that gives you access to your Google account. So again, the way to get into your Google Drive is just to simply have a Google account. And again, that could be your Gmail account or whatever you use to use Google services. And I'm going to show you what my drive looks like. So here is my Google Drive, and you can get to this Google Drive. Let's say let's go to the Google homepage. This is the Google homepage. By this little icon right here, this little icon will always be here. It could be a picture. We set it to a picture, or we'll have your initials. But we're going to look for this little waffle icon right over here that shows you the different Google apps you can access. And we're going to look for that drive icon, which is right over here. and that's going to open up our Google Drive. So as you can see, I have a whole bunch of different documents here, a whole bunch of different programs. And the way that this works, again, you can create documents directly from Drive because it does have different programs like a word processing program, Google Sheets, which is like a spreadsheet program, Google Slides, which is a kind of like a PowerPoint, which is what I'm using for today's presentation. You can also upload outside documents from your computer or whatever device you are accessing Google Drive from by simply clicking File, Upload. And let's say I'm going to go ahead and pick this document here. I'm going to select Open, and it's uploading. There it goes, upload complete. And now I can have a copy of this document, 10 Memoirs, right here in my Drive. And it will always be here as long as I keep it saved on my Drive. And let's say that I need to print out this document. I'm going to go away. I'm going to go to a different state, but I really need to print out this document for a presentation I'm going to do. The way that I can access this document is by going to any device that gives me access to the internet and lets me sign into my Google account. As long as it gives me access to my Google Drive, I can always sign in, open it up, and I can view my document. All right, now it's taking a little bit longer. And there we go. So I can always open up that document. I can make copies, print it, edit, all through my Google Drive. This is a great place to store photos. Sometimes if you know you're running out of space on your personal device or your computer. Again, if you always are job hunting and you need to have a copy of your resume on hand, saving it to your Drive is a great idea. So you can always pull it up whenever you need to. At a whim's notice, you don't have to worry about going to your computer, digging through all those files. It will always be here on your Drive. So this is something that I would definitely keep in mind because it's also really great for organization, and it gives you really quick access to your important documents or whatever you create on your Google Drive. And Google Drive does have an app that you can download on your phone, and that also will give you access to whenever you need to your Drive on your phone. The only difference is that if you're trying to access some of these programs like Google Docs, Google Sheets, or Google Slides, you're going to have to download the individual Google Docs app or the Google Sheets app. But still, you will be able to make changes and save them through those apps, and it will be saved automatically to your Drive. So like I mentioned, they have programs, and they're very similar to the traditional Microsoft programs that people are most familiar with. Like Google Docs is kind of like a Microsoft Word file processing program where you can make a whole bunch of different text documents. Google Sheets is kind of the similar to Excel, which you can make spreadsheets. Google Slides is very similar to PowerPoint, and they do have other programs like Google Forms where you can create online forms so people can fill out. Google Drawings, which is kind of like a Paint. Google Sites, where you can create a free website. So this is a really great place to try to get familiarized with. The more you use Google Drive, the better you'll get at it. And so it's a really great resource to know and kind of get better at. Always try to explore and use Google Drive, again, for everyday things, whether it be creating a grocery list, creating a quick presentation, or again, editing your resume. And today we're going to be using Google Sheets so we can keep track in our progress of our work in a spreadsheet. And if you can see right here, once I select I want to make a Google Sheet, it tells me if I want to make a blank spreadsheet or from a template. So Google does also let you create an Excel spreadsheet or a spreadsheet on your own, and it'll create this complete blank spreadsheet like so. But it also does offer us templates that we can use, and we're going to show you a template for job searchers that we're going to be using here in a bit. But let's go back to the presentation. I'll give you a little more information about using templates. So when we use a template, a formatted document is generated that allows us to fill in our information without having to worry about the layout of the document. A template takes care of all of that for us. We will be using a template provided by Google for job seekers to help us keep track of our job search. This job tracker will be saved to our Google Drive. So let's see here. So this is a picture of what this job tracker is going to look like, and I'm going to click on it so it takes us to the page where we can get this copy of the job search tracker spreadsheet. So if you're interested in getting this copy of this job search tracker, you can email reference@natronacountylibrary.org and we can send you a link to get this copy. So what we're going to do, you're going to get the link to this copy here. It's going to look like this page here. Make sure you're signed into your Google account. If you're using Google Chrome, even better, make sure you're signed in. And then once you're signed in, you're going to make sure you select make a copy. And it's automatically going to make a copy of this spreadsheet to your drive. So now when I go to my drive, it should pop up here in a bit that I opened up this copy of the spreadsheet. And so this is a template that Google has made where all you're going to do is fill in these spots right over here. Let's say again that you did a job search and you didn't find the place for the company's direct link to sign in there, you can click over here, and as you do job search, if this is getting a little too cluttered, if you don't like going back and forth, let's say you really like this job right here, but you're not too sure if you want to apply through one of these job boards, what you can do, make a note on your job tracker here, document review clerk. And the company that we are going to do is link here. No websites of it. Well, we can go scroll down here and we can select on that link here website that Google has provided for us. We can just go ahead and copy that website. We're going to come in here. We're going to select paste. The pay, I believe the pay was not provided on there, so we can just go ahead and do NA. And right over here, there's a little drop-down menu where you can select different statuses for the application. So we have not applied yet, so we're going to do have not applied. And right here, we're going to do notes, and I'm going to make a note to myself to go back and find listing on the website. If I can spell it correctly. Perfect. So that way, as you go through these different results for jobs in Casper, you don't have to worry about stopping your search and going back and forth. You really like this job, you wrote it down, you know that link here is hiring for a document review clerk. On your job search tracker, you're going to have it there. You made a note to yourself you have not applied, you can go back, and then that way you can continue browsing these job listings. And this is, again, a really great way because, you know, sometimes if you're really in need of a job and you've, like I've been there before, you've applied nonstop to different job positions, it kind of keeps hard to keep track of what you have and have not applied to. So this is a really great way to keep track of that. And you can even do that by doing your Wyoming at Work positions if you don't want to apply right away. And if you really like or interested in a job but don't want to apply right away, you can always add it to your job tracker. And this is, again, even if you're hear about a job somewhere in town from a friend or something, just add it here. And again, this copy of this table will always be saved to your drive. And there it is right there for me. And another great thing too is you can go ahead and change the name of it. So like if, let's say we've been looking for jobs for a while, we can just go ahead and type in August, job search track sheet. I mean, you can always make copies of it by going File, make a copy, and you can change it to whatever you need. I'm going to go ahead and do September because maybe in September I will be looking for another job. Whatever it is, you can do that. And it'll create another copy of the same exact table here. And another good thing about Google Drive, which I forgot to mention, is that if you do use one of these programs that they have provided for you through their drive, it always automatically saves your work as you work on it, as long as you're connected to the internet. And if you work on it while you're connected to the internet, Google Drives make sure that it constantly saves your work. So you don't have to worry about saving it or seeing your changes. Right over here in this little cloud, you can see document statuses, and this is all changes saved to Drive. And as you type, you will see here that it will change, and it'll let you know that it's been saving your work. And right over here, it has your last edit was 2 minutes ago, and that's another way that you can keep track of your past revisions. And this is also really great to use if, like, you made a change, you deleted something, but you wanted to go back. We can always go back to a couple of versions, and it will never change any of your new updates. It'll always just be what you last worked on. So that's also one really great thing about Google Drive. So this is a template that Google provides for job seekers. But like I mentioned before, on your drive, it does give you the option to create documents from a template. So on Google Docs, if we go to Google Docs and do from a template, we will see that there are the templates, and we're going to go back because we're going to look at these resumes because this is how we will create a new resume. But before we work on creating a new resume for ourselves, I'm going to give you a couple of resume writing tips. So creating a resume should be simple, but sometimes it can get a little complicated. So here are some tips to keep in mind as you create a new resume or if you edit a resume that you've always used. So one of the things to keep in mind is to make a resume for every job you apply to. So it's a really good idea to have one universal resume with all of your work experiences or all of your education and skills all in one go, and that's totally okay. But if you make a resume for every job you apply to, this forces you to highlight your relevant skills. This can help you give the impression that you are highly interested in this job and that you're a really perfect candidate for the job. Most job postings have keywords for what they want from their ideal candidate. So if you read through those descriptions on what they're looking for or the job position, if you fit that description, use similar wording in your resume. And that will let them know that you are someone who has these skills that they would like. And again, you're customizing it to this one specific job for this one company, and that really helps you stand out. Another good tip to keep in mind is to keep it short and sweet. So study after study points to employers glancing at your resume for only a few seconds during the hiring process. So the more clutter there is, the less time they're going to spend reading that, and maybe they're going to toss it to the side because it's too much at a time. So one thing to remember for a good resume is the less on your resume, the better. But this can exclude those with limited work experience. So if you have limited work experience, the more you put on it will be the better. But you also just want to try to keep it still short and sweet. So we want to try to keep it to one page, and we're going to avoid any clutter that we can to help your resume stand out. So again, if you have lots of jobs listed, only keep the ones that highlight your experience relevant to the position that you're applying for. Another thing to keep in mind, so avoid articles, no, me, myself, and I. So talking to the first person on your resume is often regarded as bad resume practice. Unless grammatically necessary, try to cut back using article words. Those words such as a, and, the, I, me, etc. So try to avoid using articles in general. This is especially helpful when adding job descriptions. It helps your resume look and sound more professional. So here's one example of how we can make our resume sound a little bit better by avoiding articles. So one example, if you're putting on your job description that I was responsible for depositing the money from the safe to the bank at the end of my shift. So that's obviously a really huge responsibility you want to highlight there. But one way you can word it a little bit differently is was responsible for depositing cash drop to bank at the end of every shift. Straight to the point. Again, if they're just glancing on it, they can just quickly look at that opposed to having to read down that you were all this little bit longer sentence. And probably the most important thing about resume writing is to check your spelling and your grammar. So spelling errors and grammatical errors can be the difference between you getting a job and you not getting the job. Spelling can matter to an employer it shows how detail oriented you are and how much care you're putting into applying for this position. So when you're working on your resume, read everything multiple times. Take breaks in between writing your resume if you've been working on it for a very long time. And most importantly, ask someone else to read it over. A lot of the times you kind of have a transcript in your head of when you're writing your resume of what it's supposed to sound like. So in your head, what it's supposed to sound like, your eyes are going to kind of trick you and make you think that's exactly what we're looking for. But if you ask someone else, they can catch a lot of the mistakes that you make because again, you're sticking to this transcript. Another good idea is to save drafts of your resume, compare the edits that you have made, and make notes of what works best and what doesn't. Another really great way, if you're working on your resume, especially on a computer, a lot of the times, you're scanning through a computer screen, it's kind of harder to also catch those errors. Printing out a physical copy of your resume and sitting down and taking a pen to it, just pen and paper, making edits can be really helpful to catch a lot of errors that you might have missed. So we want to keep these tips in mind when we're writing our resume. So what we're going to do today is we're going to use templates to create new resumes. So before we go onto the Google Docs templates, I'm going to show you the Wyoming at Work resume builder that they have here, which is a lot simpler than following the Google Docs template if you're someone who doesn't feel comfortable using a program like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. Editing documents like that and making it look really good can be a little bit difficult. You know, margin off can really mess you up. But Wyoming at Works has a really, really great resume builder that kind of works out like a questionnaire. So what you can do is you can go to the resume builder, and this is the page here. We're going to select resumes. And I already kind of created one when I was here, but what we're going to do is we're going to do create a new resume, and this probably won't be here if you create a brand new account. We're going to do create new resume. And again, it works kind of like a fill in the blanks website where you're going to do resume title, and I'm going to do, let's say I'm going to use this one for banking jobs. So I'm going to do banking resume. And then it gives you the option of how you want, what method you want to create it. A comprehensive, it's again, you're using a step-by-step process where it's kind of like a form or questionnaire where they ask you the questions, you fill in the information, and at the end of the process, they're going to make the resume for you. You can upload a resume, a copy of a resume if you have one that you want to work on and or kind of update. You upload it, and then they'll let you make the edits through their builder. But I'm going to go ahead and do comprehensive, like I'm building one from scratch, so that way you can see. And it does tell you that it's about a 34-minute estimate, so you kind of want to make some space for that time to make sure you can do that. All right, and so then do ask you if you want the resume available online, because Wyoming at Work does work with employers that are looking for job providers, so they can just easily access your resume if they're going through Wyoming at Works. But if you don't want your information out there, you just want to make the resume, you can just always opt out of that. You know my resume will not be available online. We're just going to go ahead and do next. But even if you do that, Wyoming at Work does let you download a copy of your resume at the end of you making it. So you can always save it, print it, whatever you need, and it will always be saved right here on your dashboard, on your portal. They won't delete that for you. All right, so here is the layout and the templates. They let me select which one I want, and this is just kind of different styles. It doesn't let us preview it, but if you just do new resume, it'll let you see what it looks like. And so right over here, it lets you select the sections you want on your resume. You can do contact information, which is a good idea because you do want employers to have a way to contact you. You can add an area for an objective, or if you don't want to do one, you can just click out of there. Ability summary. I do want a section with my employment history. I do want a section with my education and training. If you have licenses and certificates, you want to check on that so you can add those really great and highlight those really great things. Honors and activities, again, if you have something that you really want to highlight, make sure you check that box. And a whole bunch of different, they have detailed references. A lot of the times you don't have to include your references on your resume, but that's completely up to you. So if you do like to do that, go ahead and do that. All right, so I think I like the way that they have it set up. You can do resume format. So right over here, you could mess with the margins and the sizes and the font. So you can do that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and trust them to do Arial bold. That's all go with me. How do I want the body to look? That's perfect with me. And so you could go back and mess with this, or, well, adjust the different settings if you would like. But I'm gonna just keep it to theirs. And again, they have a whole bunch of specific formatting for different sections on your resume. I'm gonna go ahead and just do okay because they do a really good job. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do next. I'm gonna go ahead and do okay. All right, and so then it begins with the resume builder. So my information is already kind of added there. When you register, it does ask you for some information regarding your job history, your education. So it will add it here to you, but you can always do right here, add new education history. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that so you can see what that looks like. And again, this is what the questionnaire looks like. So this is, they're gonna ask you, you have to fill in the boxes, and this is what they're gonna apply to your resume. So you don't have to worry about typing it on the resume itself. They will take care of that for you as long as you fill that in. And it does give you a little box for comments that you can type in and adjust the font and all that good stuff. And I'm just gonna go ahead and do save. Oh, actually, maybe we can do cancel because I don't want to add new education history. And that's how you do it. So if you do add, and it just will keep adding your stuff here, and then you can go move on to next. And here we can add our employment history. You can, by doing add employment history, and it will look the same as before, where it just has a little bunch of boxes that will ask for you to put in that information. Job title, you can look for an occupation, do all that really great stuff. And then job duties right here is where you're going to put the description of your job. Again, avoiding articles and making sure your spelling and your grammar is okay. And then you're going to hit save, and that'll add it to your job history. But I'm going to hit cancel for the sake of this example here. And then again, it's going to ask you for your skills and your tools. And this is all what I selected when I first registered. So you're going to see that here as well. But you can also deselect some things if you don't want to highlight those experiences. So like, I just want to make sure they know that I'm Microsoft Word proficient. So I'm just going to do that. Tools, what we've worked on before, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and do next. And so that way, on my resume, they're only going to show the ones that I do want and not the ones that I said I do have. Additional information, they're going to let you put in whatever information you want right here. We're going to like it okay blank. We're going to hit next. And again, they have your contact information, my name, my address, phone number, email address, all that good stuff. And then right here lets you see what you want to appear to your resume. If I don't want my mail-in address, but I do want my residential address, you can do that. My fax, this is what my primary number, not my alternative. And then we're just going to hit next. And then there we go. Here's your completed resume. So this is a resume title. They'll score it for you if you want to see what they think your resume is like. And then right over here, it's going to show you that resume that we did. So here is just that new resume template that we use. Again, you can change it to whichever one you want. And it changes it right over there. Not that much of a difference, but I'm just going to go ahead and do new resume. And this is what the resume would look like. Ideally, I would have a lot more employment history here. Maybe I want to do an objective right here so I can specify to a specific bank when it comes time for that. And then what you can do is you can do print your resume, or you can do download a resume. And it lets you download it in different formats. You can download it as a PDF. You can download it as a Word doc, HTML, or rich text format. And if you're not going to make any edits to your resume, I always recommend that you download it as a PDF whenever you can. That way, you don't have to worry about anything like alignments or text or something going off. A PDF will just be printed out exactly how you see it here. So I did that. I'm going to hit save. I'm going to go ahead and do it on my folder. I'm going to hit save. And then there's the title, Bank and Resume PDF. And now when I open it up, there's that resume. And so when you attach it to an email or an application, attaching it as a PDF will be really good. So that way, if let's say you make your resume on Microsoft Word 2007 and your employer has Microsoft Word 2010, and somewhere along the line your text gets messed up and your resume doesn't look very professional because they opened it up differently to different programs, a PDF avoids all of that. So definitely keep the Wyoming at Work website in mind because they are really great, again, just one-stop portal for specifically Wyoming job search. That's a really great thing and a great resource to have in mind. So now we're going to take a look at the Google Docs resume templates here. So here we are again. I'm going to go back to my drive and show you how I got there. So under your drive, you click on this new button right over here. You're going to go Google Docs, select on this little arrow right over here. And then we're going to do from a template. And we're going to look at their resumes. And they have just 5 at the moment. But even though they have just 5 standard resume templates, you can still go in and maybe change the fonts, change the colors if you don't like. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the first one. And the way that Google Docs does their template, it's kind of like you replace the text that they have with whatever text applies to you. So because one of the things that can happen, if you click right here and you hit backspace, and you're just backspacing, getting rid of this, sometimes you can hit backspace a little too much, and it kind of messes up the formatting that they originally intended. So one thing that I always recommend people to do whenever they do want to use these templates is to hit the very front of that line, hit the delete key on your keyboard if you can, and that way it doesn't go up a line or anything, it just deletes everything on that line, and then we can type in our name. Another way that you can do this is if you select the text, highlight it here, and once it's highlighted, you can begin typing, and then it won't mess with your formatting at all. So we're going to go back over here. And there we go. And so they have a section that says skills, and you can always change that to, let's say, maybe you want to do objective. If you're not a fan of orange, and if you don't want any color on your resume at all, you can always click on this little ribbon here. Again, it looks very familiar, very similar to Microsoft Word. So it does have a ribbon with a whole bunch of editing tools that you can do. And the more you use Google Docs and their programs, the more comfortable you get and familiarized you get with them. So I definitely recommend keep messing with these programs. And I'm just going to go ahead and do black. I'm going to do the same thing for here because I don't want any color on my resume. So again, they do have placeholders for experiences. And let's say three jobs, it's good because you want to keep it, again, to just one page if you can. But let's say there's just one job that you need to add in here. To highlight it, 3 jobs is good, but we need to add one specific experience. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight the entirety of this one entry here. Make sure that it just highlights that one that's above it. We're going to right click and we're going to do copy. We're going to click at the end of this entry. We're going to select enter, and then we're going to go ahead and do paste. And that's how we can add more entries to this area. And again, we can keep messing with fields or changing fields. So this was skills, but I changed to objectives, so I can type in my objective to specific jobs. And I don't want to highlight my awards, but I do want to highlight my skills. So I'm going to go ahead and type in skills there. And then from there on out, I can go ahead and change my skills. If you wanted them to be bulletin points, you can do bulletin points there. You can change the font however you want. You can also change the sizing. If I thought maybe this was a little too big for my liking, I'm going to go ahead and change that to, like, let's see, I'm going to do 18, that's fine. And then right over here, I'm also going to change that just a little bit so it matches it up and do 14. And there we go. And so that's how you can edit one of the templates from Google Docs. And again, the more you use them, the more you familiarize yourself with them, the easier it'll get to work with them. It's just a matter of getting used to the way that everything looks here. And again, they always save any edits that you make. If I click right here, last edit was 2 seconds ago, and I go back and it shows you how it was originally. And one of the good things about this as well is if, let's say here, we're going to make our one universal resume that we're going to use to make different copies for our future job positions. We're just going to go ahead and do file, make a copy. And again, this is my general resume with all my job history that I've ever worked, any job history that I've ever worked. But again, what if I want to just apply to banking jobs? I'm going to go ahead and do banking resume. And changing the names to specify what exactly and what field you're applying for is really helpful. That way you can keep track of what resume is what. And so then it creates another another copy of the original resume, banking resume. Let's say I just have 2 jobs that are relevant to banking. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these 2 here. Let's just say that these were different jobs. I'm going to get rid of that. And then that way I only have those 2 positions that highlight my skills relevant to banking positions. And again, it always automatically uploads it to your drive, so you can always and will always find them here. And that way you don't have to worry about them being saved on a different computer, having copies, because you can always access these documents through your Google Drive. And here they are right there. So I hope that you all consider using these resources and tools in your job search, or share these new skills with those who might be on a job hunt. Again, Google Drive makes it so convenient to stay organized, and the more you use it, the more you will discover ways it can assist you in your day-to-day life. So it doesn't just have to be for job searching. Again, it can be in simple things such as creating a report, making grocery lists, maybe even budgeting through sheets, making a spreadsheet so you can budget. Whatever it is that you would like to use Drive for, it is really convenient to have just one spot that you can always access. So I definitely recommend that you keep exploring Google Drive and Google job search widgets, as well as wyomingatwork.com. So I hope you found this presentation helpful and that you will consider using Google Drive and Wyoming at Work. Thank you so much for joining us today. Bye-bye.